Somewhere in a village far, far away, there lived a lazy hunter named Lan. Lan never cared to take care of his family, even as he had a little daughter that was always hungry. But unfortunately for Lan, he had a wife that would yell at him all day long to step up to his responsibility. Every single day she would yell at him until finally he decided to go hunting. He took his time walking all the way to the forest and regretting why he even had a family. Finally, he got to the forest. While in the forest, he didn't wait so long to come across 3 deers. He took aim at the deers, and suddenly, 2 of the deers vanished before his very own eyes. Shocked at what he saw, and at that point, he pulls the trigger. After taking a successful shot, he rushes forward to finish off his kill. Then he hears a voice. "Please don't kill me, please." He's surprised, and he realizes the deer was the one speaking to him. And he says to the deer,
"I'm sorry, but if I don't kill you, what will I tell my wife and my child if I go back empty-handed?"
"No, I can make meat magically appear in your pot if you let me go," he says.
"Well, if I let you go and I discover that you lied to me, I'll feel like the most foolish man to ever exist."
"I'm not lying. All you have to do is go home, pour some water in a pot and boil it, and allow it to keep on boiling until the fire goes out. Then when you open it, you'll see the pot filled with cooked deer meat. I promise you."
"Okay, I'm going to try it, but I'm going to tie your legs and your neck. And then I'll go home, and if I see the meat, I'll come tomorrow and I'll free you."
On this they agreed, and he goes back home. All the way walking back home, he actually began to wonder if he made a very big mistake. Seeing him returning home empty-handed, his wife begins to nag and scream at him, calling him a lazy man who was good for nothing. He doesn't say a word, he just walks away from her. Gets a pot, pours water in it, puts it on fire and waits till the fire goes off on its own. And with fear in his heart, he opens the pot, and to his surprise, what? He sees the pot filled with deer meat. He begins to dance with joy and celebrates and jump around the whole place. And then he beckons on his wife to come over. On seeing the pot filled with meat, his wife becomes extremely happy. She jumps around and screams in joy, and then her husband tells her the entire story of his experience with the deer. For the first time in a long while, the family sit together eating bowls of meat happily. At that moment, their neighbor named Zhang walks in with his son. He used to be a hard-working man who unfortunately got into an accident and ended up with a permanent bad leg. They exchange greetings, and then Lan asks Zhang, "Where is your wife?" Zhang says his wife has traveled to the village to go get some food for the family, and Lan tells him, "Come and join us. Come and eat with us." They sit together and they share the delicious meal. And for days upon days, they fed on the meat until it had finished. As Lan was about to go back to the forest, his wife expressed to him how much she loved him and asked him to continue showing love to the family by working hard for it. and then he takes his leave. Unlike previously when he headed in the forest being depressed, this time he was such a happy man whistling his life away because he had plans to continue having more meat. On getting to the deer says, "I'm sure you saw the meat and you're about to set me free." And Lan says, "No, I can't let you go now. If I let you go, then how will my family feed again? How will I go empty-handed?" And the deer said, "But you promised we had an agreement.
And you didn't come back for days.
And Lan says, okay, but do you know what we'll do this time? This time again, when I go back, I want to see meat in my pot again. Then if I see the meat, then I assure you, I promise you, the next day I will come and I will free you." The deer was not happy hearing this, but because the deer had no choice, the deer agreed to it, and then Lan once more leaves again. On his way back, Lan was so happy because in his entire life he has never had it this easy, and he planned to exploit this. This time when he got back home, he made his wife to pour the water herself because it all became games and fun. And when they opened the pot, again it was filled with deer meat. And again, during one of their days of feasting on the deer meat, their neighbor, Zhang, came once more again with his child, looking hungry and famished, and Lan invited them once more. During their eating, he tells Zhang of how much an expert he is at getting deers, and this was really amusing for Zhang to hear. Days later, when the meat had finished, he sets up to the forest again, usually in his happy mood, but unknown to him, this time it would be different. When he gets to the deer in the forest, the deer says, "Oh, welcome. I hope you're ready to keep to your word this time around." And Lan says, "Of course, I can't set you free. If I set you free, what will I take to my family again? What are we going to feed again? You just have to do this one more time." The deer says, "But that is not what we agreed on. You promised me." "I know I promised you, but what do you want me to do? I need to feed my family and you have to do it again." And the deer says, "There is nothing I can do for you anymore. I can't make any meat appear anymore. It's all done." Lan is unhappy to hear this and he gets infuriated. You must make it appear. If you don't, I'm going to kill you right now." The deer says, please don't kill me. I have a family. I need to get back to my family." "I don't care. If you do not make meat appear again, I'm going to kill you. I'm not going empty-handed back to my family." And the deer says, "In that case, you just have to kill me because there's nothing I can do, but I'm begging you, please do not kill me." Lan stares at the deer full of rage in his eyes, and without a second thought, he pulls the trigger. Lan goes home with the deer over his shoulders, expecting his wife will be celebrating to see he returned home with meat. But she didn't react that way. Rather, she was shocked seeing the deer had been killed. And as he puts the animal down, the animal converts into a lady. He's completely devastated at what he sees. And his wife comes over to see the person on the floor, dead by her husband's gun. It was at that moment their neighbor Zhang was walking into the compound. He sees the dead woman on the floor and suddenly becomes shocked as well. The reason is just but one. That lady was his beloved wife. He's instantly filled with rage and rushes Lan and takes him to the floor and begins to rain punches on him. Lan's wife tried to save her husband, but to no avail. Zan begins to choke Lan. Lan's wife decided to pick the gun and save her husband. The elders in the village summoned Zan. They asked him, "Zan, Lan has been your neighbor for years. Why did you kill him?" Zan says, "I came to the house and I saw he killed my wife and I couldn't control myself." The chief elder, who was also a seer and well feared, told Zan, "We know that you are not telling the truth. We have seen it already. But since you don't want to tell the truth, we shall expose the truth. Ever since your injury, your wife has always tried to feed the family. Your wife also found a charm that could make her convert into a deer. And then she converts in your presence. And when she goes into the forest, any animal that she sees, she makes the animal disappears. And then when she heads back home, those same animals, she can make them appear by using water, and then you all feed on them. This is something you knew. Unfortunately for you, Lan captured your wife when she made 2 deers disappear, and Lan couldn't keep to their agreement. And the only 2 deers that she captured, she offered it to him until she had none, and Lan killed her. And you came and you saw her body and you couldn't control yourself. This is the true story." Zan stays with guilt in his eyes because he knows they speak the truth. "Now, because you have a child, we cannot execute you so that the child will not be an orphan. But what we shall do is we shall banish you from the village. You and your son." And that was how Zan was banished. And he left the village with his son. In every African tale, there's always a moral. What is the moral of the story? Keep to all your agreements. No matter the outcome, an agreement is an agreement.